My name is Brad. I'm the product lead for Google Endpoint Management. I'm part of the Cloud Identity product, so part of the Cloud Identity team. I'm going to try to keep it high energy and keep you awake here for a little bit. I'm going to try not to talk too much. We have some demos that we're going to show you, so I'm going to bring up some of my colleagues that are listed here in a little bit. But first, I want to set a little context before we get into those demos. So talk a little bit about Cloud Identity in general. So the idea here is that with the proliferation of mobile devices and the movement of enterprise access to the cloud, it's kind of changed the way that employees work. All of us expect the same kind of consumer-grade access from our enterprise applications. And it's actually putting a burden on IT to support this, right? So the workplace is undergoing a transformation to support this expectation. IT decision makers are at the forefront of creating a secure, connected, and collaborative workplace where identity, access, and device management is front and center of all of that. So, network security was different when I started my career, and so was collaboration, and I think those two are kind of tied hand in hand together. As long as we stayed on the network, we stayed secure. This tied us to our desks, and it hindered the way we could work with others. And so in a way, the IT security model kind of dictated the way that we could work with our partners and our vendors and our customers. And so now that that perimeter is gone and we've got this dynamic security posture tied to users and devices and applications, the result is a better way to work that allows us to easily collaborate across different applications from different places on different devices. Google pioneered this concept. We call it BeyondCorp. In 2011, we've been working on this for 8 years now. The intent has been to enable every employee to work from untrusted networks without the use of a traditional VPN. We've been perfecting this internally for these 8 years, shifting all of our access controls from the network to individual users and devices, allowing them to work from anywhere. And so what we've done is we've taken that and we packaged it up and we've started selling that as part of our Cloud Identity product. Now, the Cloud Identity product was officially launched in March of last year, so it's about a year old. But it's not actually a new product. It's something that we had baked in as part of the G Suite for years. But we finally thought, oh, this is something that even if you're not making the move to the productivity suite, we think our customers could benefit from. So that's kind of the overview of Cloud Identity. So what does device management have to do with that? That's what I'm here to talk about in more depth. So first, let me talk a little bit about what I think device management is, or endpoint management. So a primer, right? So I think of it in 3 pillars. So I think of device management itself, where you're locking down a device. So that's, you get an inventory of every device that accesses your data. You enforce policies on that device before they're allowed access. So you might enforce a passcode on a device. You want to have the ability to take action on that device if something happens, if the data becomes, if the device becomes lost or stolen. So basically locking down a device before you allow access to sensitive information. The second pillar is application management. So once you've got a device and it's locked down in a way that you feel like it's secure, you want to make sure that your users are productive on that. And so you want to make sure that they have access to the right applications and configured in the right way. And so things like application whitelisting, applications that separate out work and personal data, distributing applications and configuring them, that sort of thing. That's the second pillar of what I consider enterprise endpoint management. And then the third piece is general administration of your fleet of devices. So you've got these devices out there. You want to audit and report on them. You want to be able to maintain threat mitigation protocol on that, and just general enterprise management of your device fleet. So why is all of this important? So more than 1/4 of smartphone owners do not use a screen lock. So this is a couple of years old here. When you dig into that data, that's not limited to consumers, right? So that means that 1/4 of all folks carrying a modern smartphone have figured out how to turn off screen lock on their device. I don't know if you've set up a smartphone recently. It's hard to do. So you've made the decision that I want to, I don't want to be bothered with a device lock on my device, and I just want it to be open for the world to get into. So, and then depending on the data that you look at, only about 1 in 10 or maybe 15% of devices used for business use are under device management. If they're not under device management, then you don't know if you've enforced a screen lock on that device or not. So this is what I'm here to say, right? If you're an administrator and you're allowing enterprise access to your data on a mobile device, and you don't have device management turned on that device, then your employees can leave their device at a Starbucks, and it could potentially be completely open. Somebody can pick up that device, and they can get complete access to whatever sensitive data resides on that device. Not only is that bad for the potential loss of your data, it also you could run afoul of security regulations as well. So I think that is bad, and so I'm on a mission to try to fix that. So why do I think that is? So the reality is it's been difficult to set up device management. There's you send people through a lot of hoops. There are a lot of privacy concerns to set it up, and so in general, people don't want to deal with the headaches of implementing device management. And so at Google, we're on a mission to try to fix that. We're on a mission to try to figure out how to make device management as easy as possible, as seamless as possible, so that as an administrator, you don't have a problem turning it on, and as an end user, you don't have a problem having device management on your device. So our mission is to maximize user productivity while keeping data secure. These two things are diametrically opposed to each other, right? So it's really easy to keep your data secure. You lock it down and you don't give anybody access. Done, right? It's really easy to keep people productive. They can get access to your data anytime, anywhere. You just open it wide for access anywhere, but then it's not secure. So we're constantly looking at what is the right balance between those two things. I think we've achieved a pretty good balance between those two. At Google, our endpoint management, we manage more than 55 million 30-day active devices. That includes Chrome OS, Android, and iOS, and some other devices. We've managed to grow pretty rapidly over the last few years, and we've done that by making simple, easy-to-use device management. And those are the demos that I'm going to show you a little bit later. I want to show you how we've done that. In many places, we've turned on device management by default, so that we've got basically, even for administrators who don't know they need device management, we've got their back. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in 3 areas around device management, and I'm going to give a demo in each one of these areas. So hopefully we'll be ready to go on these. So first, let's talk about comprehensive protection. So on the mobile side, we manage iOS and Android. We manage company-owned devices. We manage personal devices. We also help secure the desktop through the use of an endpoint verification Chrome extension. That's something that we launched last year and talked about at Next last year. We curate and install G Suite apps. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and show a demo a little bit later. And we also are big fans of Android Enterprise, and we support Android work profiles to allow selective data control, where you can completely separate out your work and your personal data on a device so that you don't bleed between the two. Today, we are launching a new feature. It's Drive File Stream Management. So if you're not familiar with Drive File Stream, it's the world's largest hard drive. So Drive File Stream allows you to link up your cloud drive to your Windows or your Mac machine. It looks just like a regular hard drive on your device. It automatically syncs in the background the files that you need. The first thing that you hear from administrators is, we love this feature, but we want to make sure that we have control over that. If the device becomes lost or stolen, we want to make sure that we can take care of that device. So today we are launching management of that device. We can limit Drive File Stream access to only company-owned devices, and should that device become lost or stolen, we can wipe that device and or block that device. And to show you, thanks, and to show you a demo of that today, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Sachin. Sachin?
Hey, can we switch to the demo? Cool. Hi everyone, my name is Sachin. We will have two personas today. One is device administrator with the cap and one the CEO of the company. The company name is techniza.com. We deliver pizzas at lightning speed. So I'm in admin console, admin.google.com, in apps, G Suite, drive and dock settings. I'm inside drive file stream. I have allowed drive file stream in my organization. With this, as Brad told, admin will be able to inventory all the devices which are accessing drive files offline. I will also be able to block and wipe the devices. I have also the capability to allow drive file stream only on authorized devices, like company-owned devices. But today, I will give a demo without enabling the same. So let's switch the persona. And I'm here, I'm the CEO of the company, techniza.com. We deliver pizzas at lightning speed. So I have a flight and I want to work offline. So just now I have installed drive file stream in my organization, in this laptop. So let's log in for the first time from this machine, Sachin P, techniza.com. Let me put my magic password. And as you can see, the drive files have started to load up. So let me open drive file folder. And as you can see, I have these like presentation which I need to give it to my investors at the presentation. So let me make some of these files available offline. So I have a demo as well. Let me make it offline so that I can do some updates over here. So I'm going on the flight and let's go back to the domain administrator. Let me wear my cap. Cool. So just now my CEO called me and said that he has lost his Mac machine on the airport. So, and he's CEO, so he has a lot of confidential information. Let me go and see if there exists a device. Boom, we have one device with Sachin name. Let me go deep dive into the machine. So as you can see, I can see the serial number of the machine, operating system of the OS, which is Mac. This is the Mac machine. How much is the cache size? I just now downloaded like 100, more than 100 MB. What is the drive file stream version? When it was the first synced, when it was last synced. On the left side, I can take actions like block the device so that whatever data is present, it will be removed from that device and no further access will be allowed from that device. I can wipe the account for one time so that one time data is removed from the device. I can delete the device or I can view the audit information of the device so that what's happening on the device is visible very easily. So as you can see, let me block the device. You can see it on right side what happens. So let me block it. And one device is blocked, boom, all the data from the device is gone. Administrator has blocked this device from this computer so that I can no longer access it, and the device data is gone. As Brad mentioned, we are launching this today.
Thank you, Sachin. Let's go back to the slides. I love that. Sweet. Sweet when a demo pulls off like that. Great. So, next one. Let's talk about easy management, and then we'll come back up for another quick demo here. So I talked a little bit about our growth on device management. So one of the things that we've been focused on is what is the end user experience for device management. You know, I think that a lot of people hesitate to turn on management because people have to jump through too many hoops. You know, they don't want a ton of calls to their help center on how to set up and get access to Gmail and Drive and Calendar and that sort of thing. So what we implemented was agentless basic management for all of our G Suite and Cloud Identity customers. What that gets them is an inventory of all the devices that access their accounts. It allows them to enforce a passcode on those devices, and it allows them to selectively wipe the accounts on those devices. And it's important to note that it allows them to wipe the accounts on the devices, but not the devices of themselves. So it means that the administrator has control over the corporate data on the device, but they're not going to be able to wipe somebody's baby pictures off of that device. We've turned that we can do this without installing an agent on the device. Just the act of, say, logging into Gmail enables this device management. We turned this on by default for all of our new G Suite customers about a year ago, and we've been slowly retroactively applying it to all of our existing G Suite customers. We haven't finished that rollout yet, but we're in the process of doing that. So it's a very easy way to get management of every single device, every single mobile device that touches G Suite and Cloud Identity accounts. We're really pleased with this because what this means is even the administrators who haven't figured out yet that device management is very important to them, the first time that someone leaves their mobile device that's filled with healthcare data or social security numbers in a Starbucks unprotected, we've got their back. They can go and they can wipe the account off that device. So very pleased with that. For those enterprises that need more bells and whistles and more policy enforcement, we do provide more advanced controls. In that case, it's not agentless. You'll have to install a device policy controller on the device. But we do work very hard to make that as easy as possible. And so, what I like to say is that you're all here today at Google Cloud Next to talk to us about enterprise software. You may be aware that Google also has some consumer brands that we work on as well. So what we do is we take some of the lessons that we've learned from providing great consumer experiences to billions of users, and we try to apply that to enterprise software as well. And so even in the places where we might require our end users to jump through a few extra hoops to get more advanced management on their devices, we really focus on the end user experience and try to make that as seamless as possible so that the administrator doesn't get burdened with a lot of support calls and the end user knows exactly what is happening on that device. We're completely transparent about the rights that the administrator has on that device, and ultimately they end up installing and getting on their way and being productive in whatever they need to do with that enterprise information. And then finally, we also spend some time thinking about how do we make the admin's life easier. And so one of the things we've implemented are customizable rules on the admin side so that you can implement or automate everyday tasks on the administrator side. So things like, I want to lock down a device if someone tries to log in with the passcode incorrectly 5 times in a row, I might automatically trigger an account wipe on that device to protect data on that device. So today, I want to show you, we actually launched this a couple of months ago, but we've extended the agentless management concept on Android to include application management. So in addition to inventorying the device, being able to enforce a passcode on the device, and being able to wipe the account on the device, we also, on Android, can whitelist applications and push those applications to Android devices without the need to install a device policy controller on the device. And so once again, we're going to have Sachin show us a demo of that. So we switch to the demo, please. Can we switch to the demo, please? Yeah, that's right. Excuse me, can we switch over to the computer, please? There we go, thanks.
Cool. Hi again, my name is Sachin, and again I have 2 personas, one with administrator with cap and one CEO without cap. So I'm in admin console, admin.google.com. I'm admin of techniza.com. We deliver pizzas at lightning speed. I'm in device management setup, and what you can see is device management is enabled by and it is enabled in the basic mode. As Brad mentioned, admin will be able to enforce screen lock on the device, will be able to remove account from the device, and we will be able to do application management. So let me go to the application management inside admin console, device management, app management, and here I am in the Android app management. You can restrict app availability to whitelisted apps only, but to do that, you need advanced device management, which is of course part of G Suite itself. But today, I'm going to talk about mainly basic device management. You can do whitelist applications as well as make applications installed silently in the background. So let me manage these applications. So for now, I have whitelisted around 13 apps. So let me go to the Lookout app and make it install automatically. Let me edit the configuration. And as you can see, I can automatically install app on all these devices. So rest of the settings will be applicable for the advanced device management. So let me switch the persona and go back to my device. Cool. Hi everyone, I am CEO of the company. Last time I lost my laptop, so I'm logging in from my mobile phone. So here you can see there is only one account, which is my personal account. Let me add my corporate account, which is technisa.com. So let me add it. As you can see, I have very secret password on the device. Let me put sachinp@technisa.com. Let me put my magic password. Let me agree to the terms of conditions. And as you can see, all of my information which I need to talk about, like the presentation and so on, the mocks, the app, and all the information is present so that I can talk to the investors. Let me go to the Play Store and let me find out what all apps are recommended by my administrator. As you can see in background, automatically Lookout app has started to download because I had done that setting in background. So let me go to technisa.com. And as you can see, there is home. This is the new tab which we have added, which is work apps. So all the recommended apps which are done by administrator are visible. This is without device policy app or controller being on the device. Let me switch the persona. Let me go to the administrator. Oh, what happened?
Uh-oh. Are we out of power up here? Let's see, did we hit a snag? These monitors are out too.
Yeah.
Up. Yep. There we go. All right. Temporary glitch.
So just now again Sachin called me back and the CEO called me back and again he lost his mobile device as well. So as you can see, I go to device management, devices, and I see one device here. Let me wipe the account from the device so all the account related data, confidential data goes away from that device. So let me pull this screen so that you can see on right side also what happens. So let me wipe the account. And its account is wiping, boom, the account is gone. So you can see it from even Gmail app, there is no account, there is no technisa.com account, and even in Play Store, it is gone. What we also have done latest is we are showing one notification to the end users so that they can uninstall all the apps which are installed or associated with that particular account. So let me click on this. And as you can see, there is a Lookout app, Salesforce app. These apps, I had installed it via the technisa.com. I can go and delete it. And then with this deletion, all the data associated with those apps is also going away. So we are making it safe and secure. Thanks. Thanks, Brad.
Great. Thank you, Sachin. So it's easy agentless management. We're really happy with this, and that's something we did in conjunction with the Android team. All right, let's talk about enterprise ready, and this one's a little bit more in depth, and we've got a exciting demo we want to show you on this one as well. And then we're going to eventually get into some questions. If you have some questions, you can submit them on the Dory, which is linked in the description on the next app, or we're going to have some mics up here, so stick around for that. So we're getting into the home stretch here. So On the enterprise side, so we've talked about easy management. We're very focused on that. That's not to say that we don't want to support the enterprise use case. We are enterprise ready for those folks who want bulletproof management. We're here for you. So we do provide all the bells and whistles you would expect, advanced audit capabilities to get reports about users and devices and OS versions. We showed a little bit of the easy app management. We provide more advanced app management for both iOS and Android. When you want to install a device policy controller, that includes on Android the ability to create managed configurations that you can push out to your devices as well. We provide proactive security recommendations for device management with our Security Center integration. And just recently, Android Enterprise launched the Android Enterprise Recommended Program for EMMs. This was in this past January, and we were one of the launch partners for that. One of the features that we're talking about is it's not quite launched yet, but it's coming soon. So I mentioned earlier, we're fans of Android Enterprise and the Android work profile, the ability to completely separate out work and personal data on an Android phone. I say that not just because we're Google and Android's Google, although maybe, but also because they've really thought through the enterprise use case, and it's really easy as an EMM for us to kind of flip a switch and separate out work and personal data on a device. It's not quite as easy to do that on iOS, but we recognize that a lot of our customers have a need to provide enterprise support on iOS. And so one of the features that we will be launching soon, and we have in testing now, is data exploitation protection for iOS, which does things like restrict copy-paste between corporate and personal accounts on an iOS device. So watch for more announcements to come on this in the coming months throughout the year. I want to talk a little bit about something you should hear a lot about throughout this conference, context-aware access. So kind of traditional mobile management and traditional device management has in the past been a very binary thing, right? Which is you put a device policy controller on the device, it makes sure that policies are enforced on that device, and it's either compliant or not compliant, and then you allow access. And that model is not going to continue to work because there are many different signals that you need to look at on a device to determine whether you should allow access, and those signals change over time because they change depending on the user that's logged into the device, they change depending on the applications that are being used on the device, they change depending on the environmental variables like what network the device is on, what country the device is located on, et cetera. And context-aware access is something that we are working on to support those types of security scenarios. There's more to come in other sessions, and I'm going to have a slide here that will show you some of the sessions you should go watch to see about that. So what we are launching in beta is the ability to take this Beyond Corp Devices API will allow us to integrate with third parties to ingest additional signals from other companies to supplement that context-aware access rules engine. So what we look at is we work with partners. Partners send us data on, oh, here are the types of apps that we see installed on the device that might be malicious, or other things, other environmental variables. And we put those into our rules engine, and an administrator can make a decision on whether they want to grant access to corporate data on those devices or not. And so what we want to do is, rather than tell you about it, we wanted to bring up a partner to talk about it. So Sneha from Lookout is going to come up and tell you a little bit about integration that we've built with Lookout for this.
Thanks for having me, Brad. So hi, everyone. My name is Sneha Sachidananda. I'm a senior product manager at Lookout. So I want to give you some context. As we all know, today employees are working from everywhere. We are working from coffee shops, airport, movie theaters, and we are always accessing corporate data like email, our docs, slides, etc. on mobile devices. So that poses a pretty big challenges for enterprises who have completely embraced mobile devices throughout their workplace. So how can they ensure that corporate data which is being accessed from these devices are actually happening in a secure fashion, and also at the same time they have to balance the user privacy as well as not disrupt the user experience. So today here I'm here to talk about about how we're going to do that with Lookout and Google Cloud Identity. Next slide, Brad. So for those of you who have not heard about Lookout, so we Lookout mobile endpoint security. We help enterprises protect corporate data by preventing any kind of threats that can happen on employee mobile devices. We have been doing this over a decade, and we have protected over more than 100 million devices in across 150 countries. And for enterprises, we actually protect across a spectrum of risks. And on a broad range, we divide them into 4 categories. So the first category that we have there is called app-based risks. So an example of this can be a malware that can be either downloaded from Play Store or even side-loaded on an employee device. An example of a zero-day malware that Lookout detected is a Pegasus iOS spyware. Some of you may have heard of that one. And we have device-based risk. So this one is an example of this can be when a device could get like rooted or jailbroken. Atul is shortly going to show you a demo of that. And then we have network-based risk where you could connect to an unsafe Wi-Fi. There could be a man-in-the-middle attack as an example of that. And finally, phishing attack can happen when an employee could click on an email, malicious email, which could be either as a text message or even on a social media platform like WhatsApp. So what we do is when anytime there's a risk detected on any of these 4 categories, we provide protection for corporate data through what we call as continuous conditional access. Next slide, Brad. So for this integration with Lookout and Google Cloud Identity, what we have done is we have integrated our device health data with the Beyond Corp devices API. So when an end user is trying to access a corporate resource, like let's say G Suite on their mobile device, in real time, we will give context about the health of the device. So once they we get to know what the context of the device is, then you can apply all of these rules engines, as well as you can apply different enforcement policy as an admin to make sure that only safe devices get access to the corporate resources. So without giving too much away, I would like to invite Atul Tulshibagwale from Google, who will actually show a demo of this integration.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Sneha. So I'm going to show you a demo today of the Devices API and how a third party like Lookout can use the Devices API to enforce greater security on devices that are managed by Google. So here I have a device on which there is no device. Oh, yes. So here I have a device that there is no agent on this device. This is just a simple device on which I have my personal account. I'm calling myself Harry Potter. And I'm going to add my work account here. And I've just started a new job at this company called Terragon. And okay. I'm logging into the device. I'm adding my corporate account now, which is harrypotter@terragon.tv. And once I log in, I need to enter my password, of course. So there's my password. And oh, did I actually show it to everyone? Sorry. I'm here. I'm in. I see my work email here. And my boss has just sent me this new document. Oh, okay. Well, I thought there was an interesting email in my personal account, but before I go there, I'm told to activate the Lookout application. So I'm going to activate it here. So activate, enter my work email address, and what Lookout is now doing is it's basically scanning my device. I need to give it the permission so that it can do its job. It's scanning my device. It's making sure that everything is okay with my device, and it's analyzing things. Now, in the meantime, I can show you on the Google admin console that the device has been registered and approved without an agent. And on the Lookout console here, you'll be able to see that the device is connected and secured. And so if you go back to the device screen, you see that Lookout found no issues here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my personal email, and oh, there's a application for the university I was wanting to apply to. So I'm going to click on this link so that I get that application, and it's giving me some language that I don't really understand. So I'm just going to click on that link, and it's going to download this file. I don't know what that file is, but it looks like if I download it, I get into the university. So I'm going to do that. And behold, this is Lookout basically getting triggered and saying that the device is now, this file is harmful and I should not basically do anything with it. I'm going to close it, but just because the file was downloaded on this device, now you will see that in the Gmail client, the work account has been eliminated. So if I had downloaded any files or anything, all those will be gone. And how this happened actually is because on the Google admin console, the administrator had configured a rule. Now this is under Google admin. You see a rules tab, and within that there is a rule here that if a partner signals that there is a high risk on the device, then you should wipe the corporate account from that device. And so if the basic integrity says that there's a high risk, we should wipe the corporate account on that device. And that's the rule. And if you look at the audit logs, you will see that the latest audit logs will show, this is at 1:20 p.m., that the risk was changed from none to high, and then the account wipe was pending and then executed. So this happened without the user actually having to do anything. And this shows how we can collaborate with other partners. Thank you.
Great, thank y'all. Okay, home stretch. One thing I wanted to mention, we were named a 2018 Gartner Peer Insights Customer's Choice for Enterprise Mobility Management Suites. That was probably about 9 months ago. I'm particularly proud of this. We're not in the Gartner Magic Quadrant at the moment, but our customers went and nominated us for this award. They said things like, we like Google EMM because it's simple and easy to use, and those are the things that we're trying to do. So that makes me very happy. Hopefully you take away one thing from this talk. I think device management is very important. I'm pretty biased about that because I'm the product lead for device management at Google. But I think if you're allowing access to your enterprise data out in the wild, you really need to make sure that you've locked that down in some way. So you can get device management anywhere. It doesn't have to be with us. What I want to make sure you know is it doesn't have to be difficult. So if you already are a G Suite user, if you're already a G Suite customer, if you're already a Cloud Identity customer, you can get it from us at no extra charge. So you don't have to get it from us, but get it somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing, you can go to cloud.google.com/identity. And if you're interested specifically in the BeyondCorp APIs that we showed, if you're interested in being a partner or if you're interested in beta testing as a customer, send us an email at beyondcorpalliance.alliance@google.com, and we'll put you in the queue for the sign-up list. Make sure everybody has time to take a picture of that before I switch to the next slide. One other thing I want to show you, get your cameras ready for this. We've got sessions here throughout the week. This is one of the first sessions. Here are some other sessions that I think you might be interested in. The partner sessions, the ones marked PAR, are limited to partner track only. So if you got a P on your tag, you can go. But I would encourage you to go and check some of these out. We've got a lot of exciting things coming.